welcome to your Education Hub. So today we are going to start with a new chapter which is Matter Around Us Pure from Class 9 CBC Board, and this is the lecture 1, and this chapter is from your Chemistry Science. So this is your master teacher Shukru Bodal. So let's start with the chapter. Now if you have ever downloaded a Telegram app from Play Store or iOS, then join our Telegram channel. All kinds of PDFs, notes, tests, workbooks will be uploaded in this channel itself. And the link of our Telegram channel is being provided in the description box below. And so join the channel soon as possible. So let's start with the chapter. Now, by starting with the chapter, we need to know about what is mixture. Now, mixture in our basic thinking, what we know about it. A mixture is just a mix of many things, and from which one substance or two substances is being formed from it, or more substances can also be formed from a mixture of a number of things. But then this is basically what mixture is. A number of things are being mixed together to form two or more substances. So let's discuss about it. In chemistry, when two or more substances mix with each other without participating in a chemical change, the resulting substance is called a mixture. Now, in chemistry, when two or more substances are getting mixed with each other without participating in a chemical change, they are not participating in a chemical change, but then the resulting substance is called a mixture. Now, the result formed due to the combination of substances does not lose its individuality, nor are they combined chemically. Now, the result which is being formed due to the combination of the substances, it does not lose its individuality, nor are they combined chemically, but then mixtures are the one product of a mechanical blending or mixing of chemical substances such as elements and compounds. Now the result which has been formed due to the combine of various substances does not lose its individuality, nor are they combined chemically, but then mixtures are the one product of the mechanical blending or mixing of number of chemical substances such as elements and then compounds. So this is the concept of mixture, and then by mixture only we can see a number of colorful substances around us due to this mixture only. The milk we drink is basically a mixture. The mixture of what? The mixture of water and fat is basically what milk is. Now when we drink the sugar, salt, water. So in that water what we find that the sugar and salt both are being dissolved in water, from which the particular solution has been formed, which is the sugar salt solution. After that, when we get, for example, a very favorite substance for you people, a favorite food for you people, for example, if we talk about biryani. So in that biryani, a number of substances are being mixed together, and from which biryani is being formed. A favorite dish for you people has been formed. So everything are basically the mixture. So these things are basically what mixture is. Now the individuality or the identical substances which are being used, they have not been changed after the mixture. They have not been changed after the process of making your favorite food or a favorite dish. But then the substances are very much identical, but the formation of a new substance has occurred. So this is what mixture is. So hope you have understood the concept, the basic concept of the mixture. So hope you have also taken the snapshot of it. These are very much important from exam point of view. So let's move to the next slide. So these are the types of mixtures. Now the first one is the homogeneous mixture, the next one is the heterogeneous mixture, The homogeneous can be classified into two: the true solutions and the alloys, and the heterogeneous into suspensions and colloids. So this is basically the mind map. But then in this chapter itself, we have given much more importance in the heterogeneous mixture. So we will be discussing more in detail the heterogeneous mixture, but then we will be also discussing about homogeneous mixtures as well. So this is the mind map. Hope you have taken the snapshot of it. So let's go to the next slide and discuss one by one in this lecture itself. So let's start with the homogeneous mixture. So these are the types of mixtures in which the components mixed are uniformly distributed through the mixture. Now these are the types of mixtures. These are types of mixtures in which the components are basically the components by which the mixture is getting prepared. Now these are uniformly distributed through the mixture. In other words, they are uniform throughout. We can observe only one phase of matter in a homogeneous mixture. Key points regarding such mixtures are basically these. One of them means there are 5 key points. One is the first one is the particles are distributed uniformly. The components by which the mixture has been prepared, the minute particles have been distributed in each and every part of the solution uniformly, in each and every part of the mixture uniformly. And we can judge a homogeneous mixture by just seeing it. We cannot judge it that this is a homogeneous mixture, this is a heterogeneous mixture, this is a mixture. We cannot judge it by what a homogeneous mixture is. We need to see it in detail, in depth, and in minute particles. We need to see about it. Then only we can identify that this particular substance we are drinking, this particular substance in front of us, is a homogeneous mixture. Now, homogeneous mixture are also called as solutions, and they are uniform composition. And example of the homogeneous mixture are rainwater, vinegar, and others solutions, many other solutions as well. So this is the concept of homogeneous mixture. This is the cup of tea we have seen in front of you. This is also a homogeneous mixture only. So this is the whole concept of homogeneous mixture. So we have understood about the homogeneous mixture. So let's move to the next slide. Hope you have taken the screenshot of it, of this homogeneous mixture. This is very much important from the exam point of view as well. So let's move to the next slide and discuss the next part of the chapter. This is the heterogeneous mixture. So this is a type of mixture. This is a type of mixture in which all the components are completely mixed and all the particles can be seen under a microscope. So this is a type of mixture in which all the components are completely mixed and all the particles can be seen under a microscope. So in the homogeneous mixture, we have been said that we cannot understand the particular homogeneous mixture or kind of mixture that we will be saying that it's a homogeneous mixture or not. But then this heterogeneous mixture can be understood if we move in detail as like the homogeneous mixture only, like through a microscope. If we see the homogeneous mixture also, we will be understanding that this is a homogeneous mixture, but we need to know about the key points. And then in the heterogeneous mixture also, we need to know, we can understand that particular solution is a heterogeneous mixture by knowing the key points, the identifiable points by which we can identify that this mixture is a homogeneous mixture, that mixture is a heterogeneous mixture. This is a basic conception. Then we can easily identify the components and more than one phase can be seen by naked eyes. But then heterogeneous mixture can be seen when in one phase we can see, more than one phase we can see by through our naked eyes as well. Now key points regarding this type of mixture: particles are distributed non-uniformly. Particles of this mixture is basically distributed in non-uniformly, and we can judge a heterogeneous mixture by just seeing it. We can also judge a heterogeneous mixture by just seeing it. And non-uniform composition, and example, seawater, pizza, which some of you may be very much favorite dish, but then it is a junk food. Try to have it less in number, but then these are some of the examples of the heterogeneous mixture. We have also shown you an vessel which is a heterogeneous mixture, and This is the whole concept of heterogeneous mixture. So we have taken the snapshot of it. So let's move to the next slide and discuss about the difference between the previous slide, which was homogeneous mixture, and this slide, which is the heterogeneous mixture. This is the difference, basic difference. So the mixture in which different constituents are mixed uniformly. The mixture in which the different constituents are not mixed uniformly. Now the homogeneous mixture, different constituents are basically mixed uniformly, but the mixture in heterogeneous mixture is the different constituents are not mixed uniformly. Homogeneous mixture cannot have physical distinct parts. Heterogeneous have physically distinct parts. Homogeneous mixture, the constituents cannot be seen easily. Heterogeneous mixture, the constituents can be seen easily. The constituents cannot be easily separated in homogeneous mixture. The components can be easily separated in the heterogeneous mixture. The separation of constituents we will be discussing in this chapter itself, but then that part of the chapter we will be discussing in the next lecture. And the processes of the constituent separations and all kinds of separations that the NCERT book has been discussed with us in detail. We will be discussing about that in the next lecture. And in this lecture we will be discussing about the first part and the previous part of the separation of the constituents. And then the sugar solution, that is the example of homogeneous mixture, then soda water, salt drinks, vinegar, air, etc. And the examples of heterogeneous mixture, sugar, sand mixture, milk, ink, paint, fruit, blood, etc. So blood is a heterogeneous mixture. Remember, blood is a heterogeneous mixture and air is a homogeneous mixture. So this is the basic difference of the homogeneous and heterogeneous. So we have taken a snapshot of it. So hope you've understood about it as well. So let's move to the next slide and discuss about the next part of the chapter. So we are going to start what is solution. So this is a part or the branch of the homogeneous mixture only. So let's discuss about it. A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. This is a homogeneous mixture of having two or more substances, and solution has a solvent and a solute as its components. Now solvent and a solute is making up a solution, and so solvent and solute are its components. I hope in your previous classes you have been knowing about solvent and solute. So I am not discussing in detail about the solvent and solute as well. We will be discussing the solution only. So the component of the solution that dissolves the other component in it, usually the component present in larger amount, is called a solvent. And so in the solution, the larger amount which is being dissolved is basically the solvent, and the quantity or the component of the solution which is being dissolved in lower amount is the solute. So this is what the solution, basically solution is a homogeneous mixture we have discussed, and the components which are being consisting in a solution we have also discussed about it, and also the amount of the two components. Either the solution always have the solvent as larger in amount and the solute as lower in amount or lesser in quantity or amount. So this is the whole concept of solution. We have also displayed the solutions in front of you in the vessels, which is mostly seen in the laboratories. In such kinds of liquids are mostly seen in laboratories. So hope you have understood about the solution. So let's move to the next slide. Hope you have also taken the snapshot of it, and importantly, still now if you have not hit the like button, so hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So this helps us to give motivation to prepare such wonderful conceptual videos for you people. So like the button, hit the like button as more as you can, and subscribe to the channel and increase the family. This family is getting increased by only subscribe the channel. The family gets increased by this only. So hit the subscribe button as well as hit the like button as more as you can. So let's move to the next slide. So these are the properties of the solutions. So what are the properties of the solution? The solution is a homogeneous mixture, and then the particles of the solution are smaller than 1 mm, that is 10 to 9 meter in diameter, so they can be seen by our naked eye. The particles of the solution are smaller. but then they are not so much smaller that we cannot be seen through our naked eye. They are very much visible in air, but then so cannot be seen. Sorry. So basically, I am not an so sorry. It's very sorry. So solutions from the solutions so they cannot be seen by a naked eye. So it cannot be seen in naked eye, so they are very much smaller, but then because of very small particle size, they do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution. So the path of the light is not visible in the solution. Because of a very small particle size, they do not scatter of the beam of light passing through the solution, and so the path of the light is not visible in the solution. Now, because of very small particle, the size of the particle is very small and they do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution, and so the path of the light is not visible in the solution. And then the last guide property of the solution is that the solute particles cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration, but then the solute particles do not settle down when left undisturbed, that is, the solution is stable. The solute particles cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. The solute particles do not settle down when left undisturbed, that is, the solution is stable. So these all are the properties of solutions. So we have understood about the properties of the solutions. We have discussed what a solution is. We have discussed the structure of the solution. We have also discussed about how if light passes through a solution, if we raise a torchlight by displaying within the solution, whether it's the light is able to pass through it or not. We have also discussed about the filtration process as well. So hope you have understood the properties of the solution. So let's move to the next slide. Hope you have also taken a snapshot of it. This is very much important from the exam point of view. This is the concentration of the solution. Based on this, we will be discussing. We will be having some sums also on over it. So concentration of the solution is the amount of solute present in the given amount of the solution. The concentration of the solution is what? It is the amount of the solute which is being present in the given amount of solution. Now then, the concentration of the solution can be determined by the following ways. There are two formulas basically: the mass by mass percentage of the solution, which is mass of solute by mass of solution into 100, and mass by volume percentage of the solution, which is mass of solute by volume of solution into 100. These are very much important question comes based on these formulas. So remember these formulas and try to solve sums on these formulas as much as you can. We will be sending many sums. So join the Telegram channel as immediately as you can. We'll be sending and we'll be having a maths session over this concentration of the solution soon. So join our Telegram channel and then there will be the sums given. So now we will be discussing about some examples as well for making you understand about the formulas of the usage of the formulas. So let's go to the next slide. I hope you have understood the concentration of the solution. I hope you have taken a snapshot of the most important is these formulas. So let's move to the next slide and through examples to understand the usage of these formulas. This is the example, first one example, which is if we take 10 gram salts and 70 gram water are mixed and solution is prepared, find the concentration of the solution by percent mass. So the mass of solute is basically 10 gram and the mass of solution is 10 plus 70, which is 80 gram. The total solution is 80 gram, and then the 80 gram solution includes 10 gram solute, and 100 gram solution is X gram solution. This is basically utility method, and so X will be 12.5 gram percentage. Yeah, 12.5. There is a mistake. It will be the decimal point, but then it's given a comma. Sorry for the error. And then on using the formula, we can use the formula as well. So percent by mass and 10.100 by ET, which will be as usual 12.5%. So this is the example one. This is very much easy, very easy questions comes from this concentration of solution. Very easy questions. Just you need to understand the question. You need to just understand what it tries to say and what it needs through the question, what is asked for. So these are very simple questions. So hope you have understood the first example. We will be discussing in many examples in this video itself. So let's move to the next slide. So hope you have taken a snapshot of it. try to uh, try to practice these sums. It is very much important from exam point of view. These are very simple sums, and it will not take much time for you people to solve if you understand in detail. Don't try to memorize these sums. These will not help in any cost, because memorizing of sums is not a good or not a good way to score well in your exams. Just you need to understand each and every concept. Just you need to understand, as not only the sums, as well as the theoretical part of the chapter as well. You just need to understand the concepts. Nothing to memorize. Just you need to understand by preparing mind maps, just preparing charts, just preparing handmade notes or the snapshots of these slides as well. You can take as a making your conceptions, as you may need to make your conceptions only. Nothing to do any kind of memorizing. These are very simple chapters, very easy chapters. So let's move to the next slide and discuss about the example 2 as well, and make you understand about the next example. So this is the second example. So if concentration by mass of 600 gram NaCl solution is 40%, then find the amount of solute by mass in this solution. The solution we are having 100 gram, so which is including the 40 gram solute, and then 600 solution includes x gram solute. So just we need to do the unitary method, and x equals to 240 gram. So initial salt dissolves in solution, which is about 240 gram. These are very simple questions, very simple questions. Only we will be needing only 2 to 3 minutes to solve these questions. These are very simple questions, and you will be, if you are making these questions, these problem sums in which are coming from the concentration of solution, if we are being able to means if we are able to get success from these questions, then there will be easy marks would be coming for you. So it would be nothing to be having any kind, there will be nothing to cut your marks from your exams. So just you need to understand each and every concept, and just you need to practice. Then just seeing the video and then you don't practice, and it would be not be helping you any purpose. So you need to see the video, you need to understand the questions, and you need to just you need to have a good marks in your exam. So let's move to the next example of the concentration of the solution as well. So this is the next example. This is a typical question. So let me understand this question as well to you people, that if we add 68 gram of sugar and 272 gram of water to 160 gram of solution having concentration of 20%, find final concentration of the solution. So mass of solution is 160 gram. Before addition sugar and water, so 100 gram solution including 20 gram sugar, 60 gram solution including x grams sugar. So x equals to 32 gram sugar. Now mass of solute, which addition is just 32 gram plus 68 gram, which we have got the 32 gram as x value from the unitary method. By performing the unitary method, just we need to take the 32 and then plus 68 will be creating 100 gram sugar, and mass of solution after addition, that is 272 plus 68 plus 160, which is 500 gram. Then again we need to do the unitary method. So simple questions, just one method, that is unitary method. Just we need to do that only. Just doing that only we will be getting the answers. So this is so simple questions. Just next would be the 20% that has been asked from this question only, that is 20% is the concentration of the final solution. This is the whole concept of the concentration of solution sums. So we have discussed the 3 examples with you, so we have understood this. The examples as well, these are very much important from exam point of view, and they can bring you easy marks. Just you don't need to do any kind of efforts, just you need to practice, then everything will be easy, cool and clear. So hope you have understood the third example as well. So let's move to the next slide, and we have also took the snapshots of these examples. They are very much important, and we have taken these examples from the different question papers. So hope you have understood these questions. So let's move to the next slide and discuss. So let's discuss with a new topic, which is what is suspension. Now let's discuss about what is suspension. Now suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. It is a kind of heterogeneous mixture of 2 or more substances in suspension. Particles are suspended through in bulk and can be seen by naked eyes. Now, in suspension, particles are basically suspended throughout in bulk and can be seen by naked eyes. And in suspensions, particles of solute do not dissolve, rather are suspended. Particles of suspension are large enough to scatter rays of light, and path of ray is basically visible through the suspension. So the path of rays, if we pass the ray through the suspension, it is very much visible. And then the examples are suspension and the mixture of chalk and water, muddy water, mixture of flour and water, mixture of dust particles and air, form milk of magnesia, etc. So suspension is basically a heterogeneous mixture that we have seen in the flowchart only. This is the branch of the heterogeneous mixture only. And then in suspension, the particles are basically suspended throughout in bulk and can be seen by a naked eyes only. And in suspensions, particles of the solute are do not dissolve, rather they are suspended, and the particles of suspension are large and enough to scatter the rays of light, and so we can use a torch to, when we have a suspension in front of us, just to be, if we have a mixture of chalk and soap and water, then we will be able to send the ray of light, and so we will be able to understand about the suspension. This is the whole concept of suspension. Hope you have understood about the suspension. We have placed chalk water in front of you, so you have understood the suspension. So let's move to the next slide. So these are the properties of the suspension. So what are the properties of the suspension? So suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. We have now only discussed, and previously we have also discussed about it. And then the size of the solute particles in suspension is quite large. They are quite large, and it is larger than 100 mm in diameter. And then the particles of suspension can easily be seen, and then the particles of suspension do not pass through a filter paper, and so the suspension can be separated by filtration. The suspension is unstable. The particles of the suspension settle down after some time, and the suspension scatters a beam of light passing through it because of its large particle size. We have now only discussed about all these properties only. So these are very simple, and the conception of all the parts of this chapter is very much simple, and we have made much more simple for you people to understand these properties. So if you have understood the properties of the suspension as well, we have discussed here about the nature of the suspension, which is heterogeneous mixture. We have discussed the size of the suspension molecules or the particles, which is 100 mm in diameter. We have discussed that either the particles of suspension are seen or not seen by our naked eyes, and then we have discussed about the suspension is unstable, that it is able to stay stable or unstable, and we have discussed about the scattering of the beam of light. So this is the properties of suspension. Okay, this hope you have taken the screenshot and hope you have understood about the properties of the suspension as well. So let's move to the next slide. So let's discuss about a new topic, which is colloids or the colloidal solutions. So colloidal solutions or the colloids are also a branch of the heterogeneous mixture only. So let's discuss about it. Colloidal solution or the colloidal suspensions. So they are nothing but a mixture which the substances are regularly suspended in a fluid. Now a colloid is a very tiny small material that is spread out uniformly all through another substance. Now colloidal solutions or the colloidal suspensions are nothing but a mixture in which suspensions are regularly suspended in a fluid, but then a colloid is a very tiny and small material that is spread out uniformly. They are very much uniform in all through the another substance. Colloidal systems can occur in any of the three key states of matter: the gas, liquid, or solid. However, a colloidal solution usually refers to a liquid concoction, and the primary distinguishing feature between a true solution and the colloidal solution is fundamentally the dimensions of the constituent parts. Now, colloidal solutions can occur in any of the three key states of matter. One is gas, liquid, or solid. They are very much friendly or known to you from the earlier classes only. And then, however, a colloidal solution usually refers to a liquid concoction. And then the primary distinguishing feature of between a true solution and a colloidal solution is fundamentally the dimension of the constituent parts. So this is the whole concept of the colloidal solution. Hope you have understood about it. We have discussed about the nature of the colloidal solution, which is heterogeneous in nature. We have discussed about how it is related with the suspension as well. And then how much colloidal solutions are very much related with the three key states as well. But then it is usually referred to the liquid concoction only. So hope you have understood the colloidal solution. So let's move to the next slide. So this is the basic diagram of how we can see we can understand the colloidal solutions. So basically the light ray which is being coming from the flashlight of the torch, then through it the light is to pass through it, and from which we can understand the particular solution or particular solution which is present inside a vessel is a colloidal solution or not. So let's move to the next slide. We have taken the snapshot of it. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So starting with the Tyndall effect. Very important. This chapter, Tyndall effect. Now Tyndall effect is a kind of phenomenon in which the particles of the colloid scatter the beams of light that are directed at them. This effect is exhibited by the colloidal solutions and some very fine suspensions. Now Tyndall effect is a kind of phenomenon in which the particles in a colloid scattered the beams of light that are directed at them only, and this effect is exhibited by all the colloidal solutions and some very fine suspensions. So what is happening in this image? A person through a flashlight or through a torch, it is basically he is placing over the solution, and then the solution, the light is able to pass the solution. This is basically what is the Tyndall effect is. And then the solution may be colloidal solutions, or the solutions may be the suspensions as well. Then the intensity of the scattered light, basically the intensity of the scattered light depends on the density of the colloidal particles as well as the frequency of the incident light. Now then the intensity of the scattered light depends basically on the density of the colloidal particles as well as the frequency of the incident light. Now when a beam of light passes through the colloidal particles present in the solution do not allow the beam to completely pass through. The light collides with the colloidal particles and is scattered. Now when a beam of light which is passing through a colloid, now then the colloidal particles present in the solution do not allow the beam to completely pass through. The light used to collide with the colloidal particles and is scattered. It deviates from its normal trajectory, which is straight line, and this scattering makes the path of the light visible. This helps the path of the light to be visible. So this is the whole concept of the Tyndall effect. Hope you have understood the Tyndall effect as well. So this is the basic diagram of how the Tyndall effect occurs. So hope you have understood about it. Hope you have taken a snapshot of it. Hit the like button if you have not hit it like now also. Hit the like button. We used to be a lot of efforts to create such wonderful videos for you, such conceptual videos for you. So hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get the regular notifications from our channel coming up. So hope you have understood the Tyndall effect. So let's move to the next slide. So these are the properties of the colloids. So colloid is basically a heterogeneous mixture, and the size of the particles of the colloid is too small to be individually seen by the naked eyes. They are too small, that's why we cannot see. And then colloids are big enough to scatter a beam of light passing and through it and make it path visible. So colloids are also the path are big enough. Colloids are big enough so that it's path so the light can pass through it, passing through it, and make it path visible. Now settle down, and when left undisturbed, that is colloid is quite stable. So the colloid is very much stable, while we have been discussing about suspensions, they were not stable. So then they cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. We have been seen as suspensions were being able to processed and separated by filtration, but the colloids are so small that cannot be they cannot be separated by filtration. But a special technique is there, which is known as centrifugation. It is a new technology that is being invented by the scientist, and then can be used to separate the colloidal particles. Now, about centrifugation, about filtration, about other modes of examining or observing the just to filter it, or to means just to scatter the components of a solution. We will be doing this part in the next lecture. We will not be discussing this part in this lecture itself. So we'll be discussing that part in the next lecture, because collecting all the concepts of one chapter from a single session only will be tougher for you people to understand. So we have thought about this, and that's why we have split the chapter into two lectures. One, the first part we are discussing now only, and the next session will be coming within tomorrow only. I hope tomorrow, the day to the next day, and that lecture will be very coming very soon. So hope you have understood the properties of the colloids as well. So we are here being discussed that colloidal nature, which is interface mixture, and then the colloid can be filtered or not. We have discussed whether it is stable or not. We have also discussed the particle structure of the colloid, and whether it is smaller or not. So we have understood the properties of the colloids. So let's move to the next slide. This is the common examples of the colloids. The dispersed phase, which is a liquid, which is dispersing medium, which is the gas. The name of the colloidal system is liquid aerosol. The common examples are mist, clouds, and fog. So liquid aerosol is being found in the common examples like mist, clouds, or fog. So liquid aerosol, you don't need to get confused by a new word. It is basically found in the common examples. So this chart is very important from the exam point of view. Questions every time used to ask from this table. So just you need to remember this table by heart. And then solid, the dispersed phase is solid, dispersing medium is gas, and the name of the colloidal system is aerosol. And common examples of this: dust, smoke, and then dispersed phase is then gas, and then dispersing medium is liquid, and the name of the colloidal system is foam, and this found in surge, and then whipped cream. Then dispersed phase is liquid, then dispersing medium is liquid again, and then name of the colloidal solution system is basically the emulsion, and then common examples are cream, milk, mayo. Then dispersed phase is solid, dispersing medium is liquid, name of the colloidal system is sol, and then common examples are pens, jellies, sewage. Now the third one is dispersed phase is gas, dispersing medium is solid, name of the colloidal system is solid foam, and the common examples are marshmallow. Now this marshmallow, don't relate it with the singer called Marshmello. It's not getting related with that marshmallow, with this marshmallow. Just to be funny, this is something very much important from chemistry. So these are the common examples where the solid form of which is being found in the colloidal system. So hope you understood. And then liquid. So dispersed phase, which is liquid, and dispersing medium, which is solid, and name of the colloidal system, it is solid emulsion. And common examples are butter and cheese. Most of you would be very much liking with these two components. Yes, everyone. Even I also used to like these two components as well. So how many of you used to like butter and cheese? Also mention in the comment section below. And I also want to know that, like me, who are so much hung up with this butter and cheese. I am very much favorite with this butter and cheese. Hope mention it in the comment section below. Who used to like butter and cheese? Now dispersed phase is solid, dispersing medium is solid, name of the colloidal system is solid sol, and the common examples are opals and some alloys. So this is the common examples of colloids. So take a snapshot of this table. This is very much important from the exam point of view, and understand this table by heart. So hope you have understood the common examples of the colloids as well. So let's move to the next slide. So these are the separating components of mixture. These all we will be discussing in the next lecture. The first one is crystallization, the next one is filtration, decantation, sublimation, evaporation, central distillation, fractional distillation, chromatography, centrifugation, separating funnel, magnetic separation, precipitation. These all we will be discussing in the upcoming lecture, which will be coming within 2 to 3 days, and wait, stay tuned for that, and we will be discussing each and every separating methods in detail. So these are the components by which the separation means, these are the methods by which the separating components of a mixture occurs. So hope you have understood about it. So let's move to the Next slide. So basically here the video ends. Thank you for watching the video. Hope all your concepts are very much crystal clear from this part of the chapter. This is the first lecture. We have thought about three people and we have made a decision that we need to break this kind of chapter into two parts, so that the parts, each and every part should be understand in detail, in depth, so that there are no problem occurs for you people to understand. Even if you have any doubt after looking at this video, and if you have any doubt after reading the chapter, mention it in the comment section below, and then we take a lot of efforts to build such wonderful conceptual videos for you people. So like the video, subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that the latest notification, the next lecture which will be coming within 2 series will be given to you people at first, and share the video with those people who are in need to study, who are wishing to study. These lockdown situations are such kind of situations where all the offline classes has been closed. The students, the teachers, everyone has been dependent over the online platform to use it. So use it. Here we, this platform, this Youth Education Hub, we do not need any kinds of coaching fees. We are providing you with studies at free at any cost, because we want to have coaching free India within the coming future. So try to share the video with those people. So hope you have understood this video as clear as crystal. So stay tuned for the upcoming video that is being coming up within days. So stay tuned and thank you for watching. So bye.